So this Sunday, we have a matchup between the Los Angeles Rams, currently sitting at 7-3, losing their past 2 games after starting off insanely hot. I think lots of people, sort of saw them as Super Bowl favorites. But the past couple weeks, they have looked pretty bad, losing their past 2 games. And then we have the Packers coming in here, currently sitting at 8-3 after just losing to the Minnesota Vikings after, going to Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, sort of picking this Packers team apart. It was a close game, came down to the wire. The Vikings beat the Packers 34-31. So this is going to be a pretty, I think, exciting, good matchup coming in on Sunday. We have the Rams coming to Lambeau Field. So the Packers definitely have that advantage being at home in Lambeau Field, which I think gives the Packers, a big leg up on this Rams team. But at the same time, you'd have to imagine that the Los Angeles Rams, a team who has been going, really all in the past couple weeks, the past month or so, after making that massive trade for Von Miller, and then, of course, coming in and signing Odell Beckham Jr., who is also, sort of considering the Packers. The Packers sort of missed out on him. It seemed that Odell was basically deciding between the Packers and the Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams have really been doing lots of different things to basically give them the ability, give them the potential chance to come in here and win the Super Bowl. It really seems like they are going all in for this season. Doesn't necessarily mean that, their chances in the future are lower, but they have traded away lots of draft capital to ensure that right now their team is really good. So I think if you're the Rams right now, you're looking at these past 2 games where you have lost 2 in a row, not looked good whatsoever the past couple of games. And I think as a Rams team, you're probably coming in here to Green Bay thinking, we got to win this game. We can't lose a 3rd straight game in a row. So I think that's going to make this game a really competitive, really, just good matchup overall between 2 teams that I think are, 2 of the best teams currently in the NFC overall. And if we take a look at this Rams team, so they start off in the first 8 weeks of the season. These stats come from ESPN. They start off at 7-1, averaging 30.6 points per game. The past 2 weeks, weeks 9 and 10, they are 0-2. Only averaging at 13 points per game. And Matthew Stafford has just played very poorly these past 2 weeks. He threw for 22 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in the first 8 weeks of the season. These past 2 weeks, he has 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and he has 2 pick sixes in these past 2 games. So this offense that had been one of the best in the NFL, Matthew Stafford have been playing at the highest level. He's really struggled these past couple weeks. One reason could be just because Robert Woods did go down, and he was, I'd say, a big part of this Rams team. But Matthew Stafford, for whatever reason, has struggled these past couple weeks. So then coming in this week against the Packers defense that did just get torched by Kirk Cousins, who had a really good game. There were definitely, 3 or 4 different passes the Packers could have picked off, but there were a few different reasons. Didn't quite go the Packers' way. Roughing the passer, a couple balls that were just dropped. Could have gone differently for this Packers defense, but they did get beat by Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. The secondary really struggled. So even though the Rams have struggled the past couple games on offense, I still think this is a very, very good offense. You still have Cooper Kupp over there. You still have Odell Beckham Jr. You probably think by now Matthew Stafford and Odell at least have maybe a little bit better connection, probably working with each other the past few weeks. So I don't think the Packers should take this team lightly, even though Matthew Stafford has struggled the past couple weeks, because the first 8 weeks of the season, we have seen just how dominant he is. So it's going to be a tough task for this Packers defense, and we'll see if they can rebound after, not doing great against the Vikings. They had a few weeks where they were shutting down lots of quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray. They're playing really well. So I think this Packers defense does have that ability. We were without Rashawn Gary last week, and so hopefully he'll be good to go in this game. I am filming this a few days before I put it out, so there's probably news on if he's playing or not by now, maybe not, but hopefully he will be able to play in this game, and I think he's a big difference maker. In one area where this Rams team really has struggled has been on the interior of their offensive line. So if Kenny Clark can come in here and manhandle guys as he typically does, I think that could give the Packers a good chance here in this game. And so I'm hoping the Packers can come in here and sort of look like the defense they looked like the past few weeks, taking out that Minnesota game. Because I think we've seen just how good they can be. They have a very, very high potential. We'll just need to see if this Packers defense can shut down Cooper Kupp, can shut down Odell Beckham Jr., and sort of hold Matthew Stafford in check. And I think the strength still on this Rams team, I think, is their defense. If we take a look at their defensive stats, they don't really, look amazing right now. They're the 15th best scoring defense in the NFL, allowing 22.7 points per game. But Matthew Stafford has sort of hurt them the past couple weeks, throwing a couple pick sixes. But if we do take a look at this team according to PFF, they do have the best run defense and pass rush in the NFL according to their grading system for all NFL teams. So, of course, they have, lots of talent on the defensive line. Trading, as I already said, for Von Miller, who's one of the best. I'd say, on the edge still to this point. Aaron Donald on the inside, and then Leonard Floyd, who is on the outside as well for this Rams team. He did get a concussion last week, so it's uncertain as to whether or not he will play this week. But if all three of those guys are playing, it's going to be a tough matchup for this Packers offensive line that has, struggled with lots of injuries. Last week, losing left tackle Elton Jenkins, who has been our best, offensive lineman without David Bakhtiari there, losing him for the rest of the season. So now we're without three of our starting offensive linemen in Josh Myers, rookie center, who hasn't been here for a while now, a few weeks, maybe a month or so now. David Bakhtiari, of course, still not ready to come back after tearing his ACL almost a year ago. And then, of course, losing Elton Jenkins. So, Josh Nijman over there is going to need to, hold up at left tackle, Billy Turner on the right side, and then, of course, on the inside, trying to contain Aaron Donald. So I think if this Packers line can hold up, I think that the Packers will be able to move the ball on this Rams defense. They do have Jalen Ramsey, so he's one guy, of course, the Packers will need to plan around, find a way to, pick apart this secondary. But I do think the one area the Packers really need to, keep in check for this offense to continue success, as I did in the second half last game, is to hold up on the offensive line, because at times we have struggled on the interior, especially Royce Newman, Packers rookie guard. He has struggled at times. And so if Aaron Donald lines up across from him at times, it may be a little difficult there. But I still think this Packers offense has the ability to be great, and we really saw that last week. At the end of the first half there versus the Minnesota Vikings, Aaron Rodgers comes in. I think he had 4 straight touchdown drives. He had his best game of the season, even though he has that supposed toe injury, whatever it is. And so, he threw for 385 yards, 4 touchdowns, had his highest passer rating of the entire season. So coming into this next game, being at home in Green Bay at Lambeau Field against a good, Rams defense, we'll see, what this Packers offense can do. But I do think it's important the Packers offense figures out how to get it together, right when the game starts, because as I talked about in a video a couple of days ago, the Packers have been struggling this season in the first few drives of the game, whereas last season they were one of the best in the NFL. So if they can get that together, if they can play as they did in the second half last game, where Aaron Rodgers was just throwing dimes, the offense was moving well, then I think the Packers do have a good shot in this game. So my score prediction for this game, thinking about this, because this is a good Rams team, a team that's probably going to very, very much so want to win this game. They don't want to, lose 3 in a row with the roster they have here. But I think the Packers being at home in Lambeau Field, coming off that loss to the Vikings, I think they are going to win this game. So my score prediction for the Packers is going to be Packers, let's go with 31, Rams 21. That is my final score prediction, but let me know in the comments what your guys' score prediction is, what you guys think could potentially happen in this game. But if you guys have not followed me on Twitter, Luke_Beller on Twitter, my link to that will also be in the description. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.